The legends of the Little People have long been whispered through the generations. Tales passed down by Native Americans across the vast lands of North America. These stories describe a mysterious race of small beings who reside deep within the woods, their homes hidden near sandy hills, rocky outcrops, or vast bodies of water like the mighty Great Lakes. The legends paint a vivid picture of these tiny creatures, often referred to as hairy-faced dwarfs. They were said to travel in boats, each carrying between 5 to 7 of them, with horns adorning their heads, giving them an otherworldly appearance. The Native American folklore surrounding these little people is rich with mischievous antics, portraying them as tricksters who loved to play practical jokes on humans. Often, they would be heard singing beautiful, haunting melodies, only for the music to vanish the moment someone tried to locate its source, leaving bewildered listeners behind. But despite their playful nature, the Little People were known to be deeply compassionate, particularly toward children. If a child found itself abandoned or mistreated by abusive parents, it was believed that the Little People would intervene, taking the child under their care and protecting them within the safety of the forest. They were guardians of the innocent, ensuring no harm came to those who needed love and protection. According to ancient traditions, there existed a sacred bond between humans and the Little People. If an adult ever caught sight of these elusive creatures, they were bound by an unspoken pact to keep their existence secret. In return, the Little People would reward those who honored this vow, ensuring prosperity and protection for them and their families in times of need. However, the nature of these tiny beings varied from tribe to tribe. While some stories portrayed them as benevolent and kind, others hinted at a darker side, suggesting that the Little People were capable of evil mischief if angered or disrespected. This duality added to the air of mystery that surrounded them, making them both feared and revered in equal measure. Throughout this narrative, we'll explore these tales further, diving into the legends and stories told by various Native American tribes. Misconceptions abound regarding the Little People, with many believing they intentionally caused chaos and trouble for humans. Some even went so far as to consider these beings as gods, their power and influence stretching far beyond mere mortal comprehension. One particular tribe in North America held the belief that the caverns scattered across their homeland were the sacred dwellings of these tiny beings. These caverns were considered off-limits, and the tribe dared not enter them, fearful of disturbing the Little People and invoking their wrath. It's not just oral tradition that speaks of the existence of these beings. Physical evidence has been claimed to support the legends. In the western regions of the United States, particularly in Montana and Wyoming, archaeologists have reported the discovery of skeletal remains that match the descriptions of the Little People. These bones, said to be perfectly formed and dwarf-like in appearance, add a layer of intrigue to the already compelling legends. One such archaeologist, Lawrence Loundorf, noted that the stories surrounding these discoveries often claim that the remains were sent to universities or prestigious institutions like the Smithsonian for analysis. However, these specimens, along with any research conducted on them, mysteriously vanished, fueling speculation and deepening the mystery. Loundorf also referenced a finding in the early 20th century where 2 mummies were discovered. These mummies, believed to be anencephalic infants, were so deformed that some mistook them for the remains of adult Little People. This discovery played a pivotal role in reinforcing the public's belief in the existence of tiny prehistoric humans. Even explorers as notable as Lewis and Clark encountered the legends of the Little People during their famous expedition, while traveling through the area now known as Spirit Mound in South Dakota. Their journals reveal that local Native Americans warned them of the small devils who inhabited the mound, believing them to be dangerous. Despite their curiosity, Lewis and Clark could not convince the locals to approach the mound out of sheer terror of these supernatural beings. The intrigue surrounding the Little People extends beyond South Dakota. In Ohio, the discovery of tombs in Coshocton County during the 1830s led to speculation about the existence of pygmy skeletons. However, upon closer examination, it was revealed that the 3-foot-long graves were, in fact, bone burials. The bones were bent and stacked in a manner that misled early explorers into believing they had uncovered a race of miniature humans. The Crow tribe, known for their deep reverence for the Little People, considered these beings to be sacred ancestors. They believed that anyone entering areas associated with the Little People, like the Pryor Mountains, must leave offerings as a sign of respect. The Pryor Mountains, located in Montana and Wyoming, are notorious for strange and unexplained phenomena. They are home to fairy rings and eerie occurrences, adding to the mystique of the Little People said to dwell there. One of the more well-known legends involves the Mohegan tribe, who speak of the Makiawea-Sug, or the Little People, who live among the rocks of Mohegan Hill. Their presence is heralded by the call of the whippoorwill bird at dusk, summoning them from their hidden dwellings. The Mohegans consider the Little People to be good spirits, but they are aware of the need to treat them with the utmost respect. Traditions dictate that offerings, such as baskets filled with corn cakes, berries, or meat, should be left in the woods for the Little People. At night, dressed in moccasin flowers for shoes, the Little People would gather these gifts, grateful for the kindness shown to them. In fact, the name Makiawea-Sug translates to whippoorwill moccasins, a nod to the bird that serves as their herald. But the relationship between the Mohegans and the Little People is not without its rules. One of the most important is that no one should speak of the Little People during the summer months when they are most active. Staring at them is also forbidden, as it is considered impolite. If someone is caught gazing too long, the Little People may retaliate by pointing a finger and dragging the offender to the ground while stealing their belongings. However, those who honor the Little People are said to receive great benefits in return. The Little People are believed to maintain the health of the soil and provide teachings on how to grow maize and use medicinal herbs. These teachings have been passed down for generations, benefiting the Mohegan people and ensuring their survival. A famous story tells of a Mohegan medicine woman who lived during a time when bad spirits plagued the land. One stormy night, she heard the call of the whippoorwill outside her door. When she opened it, instead of the bird, a small boy stood before her in the pouring rain. He revealed himself to be Weigand, an adult Makiawea-Sug, and pleaded with her to follow him through the woods, despite the raging storm. Weigand led her on a long journey deep into the heart of the Little People's realm. Along the way, the storm abruptly ceased as they descended into a hidden chamber of rocks, shaped like a beehive. Inside lay an elderly woman, gravely ill and in need of healing. Weigand introduced the medicine woman to Granny Squonet, a powerful figure among the Little People known for causing storms whenever she quarreled with her husband. Granny Squonet's condition was dire, and it was up to the Mohegan medicine woman to restore her health. For nearly a full moon, the medicine woman worked tirelessly to heal Granny Squonet, using all the knowledge passed down to her by the ancestors. Finally, Granny Squonet recovered, and in gratitude, the Little People bestowed upon the medicine woman a basket of gifts. When she returned home and opened the basket, she found quartz crystals, painted skins, and bundles of rare herbs. A treasure trove of invaluable items. The story of the Makiawea-Sug is just one of many that depict the profound connection between the Little People and the Native American tribes. The Cherokee, too, have their own version of the Little People, known as the Nunahai, or Yunwi Sunzdi. These beings, like the Makiawea-Sug, are small and elusive, with many believing them to be immortal spirits who live forever. Their name, Nunahai, literally translates to, the people who live anywhere. But it is often interpreted to mean, the people who live forever, or simply, the immortals. Hunters roaming the southern Appalachian Mountains would often hear the sound of the Nunahai singing, dancing, and beating drums in the distance. Yet, no matter how hard they tried to locate the source of the music, the sound would always seem to shift, moving behind them or to another direction, evading their search. The Nunahai were known to have underground townhouses scattered across the mountains. And they were particularly fond of residing on the highest peaks, where no timber could grow. The Nunahai only revealed themselves to humans when they chose to, and when they did appear, they looked and behaved just like the Cherokee people. These legends of the Little People, passed down through generations, continue to captivate the imaginations of those who hear them. They speak of a world just beyond our reach, a world where tiny, magical beings exist, protecting the innocent, teaching valuable lessons, and offering rewards to those who honor their ways, whether they are seen as tricksters, guardians, or sacred ancestors. The Little People hold a special place in the rich tapestry of Native American folklore, their stories enduring through time. The legends of the Nunahi, mystical beings deeply entwined with Cherokee folklore, tell tales of powerful, otherworldly entities who roamed among humans, often indistinguishable from ordinary people. One such story speaks of 4 Nanahi women who arrived at the Cherokee town of Natoli, spending an evening dancing with the young men of the village. Their beauty and grace were undeniable, but none knew that they were Nanahi. To the villagers, these women were just visitors from another town. As the night drew to a close, the women left the dance and headed toward the Natoli River. Some of the men, intrigued by their mysteriousness, watched from the shadows. They saw the women walking down the open trail, their figures illuminated by the pale moonlight. But as they neared the riverbank, the women vanished without a trace, leaving no sign of where they might have gone. It was then that the men realized who the women truly were: Nanahi, spirits who could slip between worlds at will. The Nanahi are known in Cherokee lore as protectors, often intervening in times of great conflict or misfortune. There are many stories of the Nanahi inviting Cherokee people to live with them in their mystical homes, safe from the horrors of war and the impending dangers of human life. One such tale, often whispered among elders, tells of a time long before the forced removal of the Cherokee from their lands. The Nanahi appeared to a group of Cherokee and foretold of a great disaster that would befall them. They offered salvation, promising to return in 7 days to carry away the Cherokee townhouse, along with everyone inside, to a safe place where they would be protected from the coming catastrophe. But the Nanahi gave a strict warning: the people must remain silent and not make a sound during the entire process. If they screamed, if they so much as gasped, everything would be ruined. On the 7th day, a sound like distant thunder rolled across the land. It grew louder and louder as the Nanahi approached. The ground began to tremble beneath the feet of the Cherokee as the townhouse slowly lifted off the earth, carried by unseen forces. The Cherokee inside, though filled with fear, kept their silence as instructed. But as the ground shook more violently, a few of the people panicked. Unable to contain their fear, they let out a scream, piercing the air. Startled, the Nanahi dropped part of the townhouse, which crashed to the ground, forming the mound that still stands today at a village called Setsi. The Nanahi, however, steadied themselves and carried the remaining part of the townhouse to Lone Peak, a sacred mountain. There, they transformed it into solid rock, and the people within became like the Nanahi, immortal, invincible, untouched by time. The Nanahi were not the only tribe of mysterious beings in the folklore of Native Americans. The Shoshone people of North America's Rocky Mountains had their own legend of small, powerful beings known as the Nimaragar. Unlike the protective Nanahi, the Nimaragar were aggressive and dangerous. These fierce little people were said to shoot poisoned arrows from tiny bows and were feared for their violent tendencies. The name, Nimaragar, roughly translates to people eaters, hinting at their malevolent nature. The Shoshone and Paiute tribes believed that the Nimaragar would kill their own if they became too weak to contribute to the community, striking them in the head and leaving them behind. For many years, the Nimaragar were thought to be mere myth, until a discovery in 1932 called their existence into question. In the San Pedro Mountains, 60 miles south of Casper, Wyoming, a tiny mummy was found seated in a cave. The mummy, just 14 inches 36 centimeters tall, was in a seated position, its features strikingly preserved. Initially, scientists believed it to be a hoax, but tests performed by the American Museum of Natural History, with certification from the anthropology department at Harvard, revealed that the mummy was no fraud. It was the body of an adult, approximately 65 years old, who had died under violent circumstances. The spine was damaged, the collarbone was broken, and the skull had been smashed, revealing congealed blood and brain tissue inside. Even more disturbingly, the mummy had a full set of canine teeth that were unusually pointed, giving it a sinister, predatory appearance. Further examinations, including one by the University of Wyoming, determined that the body might actually have been that of an anencephalic infant, a child born with a severe cranial deformity, which made it appear as though it were a miniature adult. A second mummy, examined in the 1990s by anthropologist George Gill and the Denver Children's Hospital, confirmed similar findings. DNA testing showed that the remains were Native American, and radiocarbon dating placed the mummy's age at around 1700, long before European settlers had established themselves in the region. But the mystery of small beings in North America doesn't end there. Zeisberger, a missionary writing in 1778, described a strange burial ground near Coshocton, Ohio, that reportedly contained the remains of a pygmy race. The graves, arranged in long rows with the heads of the bodies facing west, were said to hold skeletons no more than 3 feet 91 centimeters tall. This arrangement led some to speculate that the ancient people were sun worshippers, positioning their dead to face the rising sun as it climbed over the eastern hills. The theory of sun worship was common among early humans, leading to speculation that this pygmy race might have had ties to ancient civilizations like those of the Nile or Mesopotamia. However, with the passage of time, extensive farming, and the spread of modern civilization, these burial grounds have largely disappeared, taking with them any concrete evidence of this mysterious race. The Crow people of Montana also have their own legends of little people, believed to live in the Pryor Mountains. These beings were no taller than 18 inches 46 centimeters and were known for their great strength despite their small size. The Crow described them as having round, bulging bellies, short arms and legs, and almost no neck. They were fierce warriors known to feed primarily on meat, and their mouths were filled with sharp, canine-like teeth. In one famous Crow story, a little person single-handedly killed a full-grown bull elk and carried it off, slinging the massive animal over its shoulder with ease. The Crow even had a saying, "strong as a dwarf," to describe the incredible strength of these beings. The little people of the Pryor Mountains were not only strong but also deadly. Tales were told of them tearing out the hearts of their enemies' horses and using their sharp teeth to inflict brutal wounds. These stories were so fearsome that nearby tribes, terrified of the little people's wrath, avoided making war on the Crow for fear of invoking their deadly protectors. Each year, the Crow made offerings to the little people at a sacred site known as Medicine Rocks or Castle Rocks, leaving gifts to ensure their continued favor and protection. The Pryor Mountains were so sacred to the Crow that they refused to enter them, believing that the little people would exact their revenge on anyone who dared trespass without offering the proper respect. However, there were ways to safely traverse the Pryor Mountains. According to Crow folklore, the little people had befriended a young Crow boy and revealed to him a secret pass through the mountains. To use this pass, the Crow had to shoot arrows ahead of them as they traveled, offering the arrows as gifts to the little people in exchange for safe passage. This pass, now known as Pryor Gap, was once called "Hits with the Arrows" by the Crow. Similarly, the Crow referred to Pryor Creek as Arrow Creek and called the Pryor Mountains the Bapuo or Arrowhead Mountains, a name that paid homage to the gifts they offered to the little people who lived there. These tales, deeply rooted in Native American folklore, reveal a world teeming with mystical beings, each with their own customs, powers, and personalities. From the Nunehi, who offer protection and immortality, to the fierce Nimaragar of the Rocky Mountains, and the mysterious little people of the Crow. These legends continue to captivate and inspire, reminding us of the rich cultural heritage and spiritual beliefs that have shaped the history of North America. Though the truth behind these legends may remain hidden, the stories themselves live on, passed down through generations. A testament to the enduring power of myth and the mysteries of the unseen world. The presence of the little people in Native American folklore extends far beyond just a few stories. Their influence deeply woven into the spiritual and cultural practices of tribes such as the Crow, the Iroquois, and many others. These beings are not only viewed as mysterious and elusive but also hold immense power and wisdom, often acting as intermediaries between the spiritual and earthly realms. In Crow tradition, these small, magical entities played an essential role in rituals such as the Sundance, a vital ceremony in the Crow culture. It is said that the position of a dancer in the Sundance could only be granted by the little people themselves. They were believed to be the true owners of any Sundance lodge that was built, overseeing the participants and judging their sincerity. Only those who were deemed genuine in their devotion would receive visions or spiritual insight, gifts bestowed directly by the little people. Offerings were made to appease these beings, and while arrows were often shot ahead as tributes, other forms of offerings like beads, cloth, or tobacco could also be left to win their favor and ensure safe passage through the sacred mountains. In one of the most famous Crow folktales, the little people play a significant role in the life of a boy named Burnt Face, also known as Lost Boy. This young boy suffered terrible burns on his face after falling into a bonfire, leaving him disfigured and ostracized. When his people moved north, following the buffalo, Burnt Face chose to head south. There, in solitude, he built a Sundance Lodge, and it was within this lodge that the little people emerged to speak with him. They removed his scars, not only healing his face but also granting him powerful abilities to heal others. They showed him where his band had traveled, allowing him to reunite with his people. Burnt Face, though forever carrying the memory of his scars in his name, became a great chief and healer among his tribe. His transformation and rise to prominence forever linked to the intervention of the little people. Another tale from the Crow Nation tells of a young boy who was separated from his family while they were moving to new hunting grounds. Lost and alone, the little people took him in, sheltering him within a cave in the Pryor Mountains. Over time, the boy grew strong, imbued with the magic of the little people, and soon he began to exhibit feats of extraordinary strength. As a form of amusement, he started building tall stone columns, stacking rocks to create towering structures that still stand today as medicine rocks. These formations, believed to be crafted by the magical powers of the little people through the boy, are revered by the Crow and remain a testament to their influence. The little people, however, could also bring fortune to those who honored them correctly. One hunter, suffering from a streak of bad luck, ventured into the Pryor Mountains seeking guidance. After managing to shoot a deer, he offered its body to the little people, dropping it over a cliff in Black Canyon as a tribute. To his surprise, his luck turned around, and his hunts were once again fruitful. Curious about the deer he had left as an offering, the hunter returned the next day to find that the deer's body had completely vanished. Reinforcing his belief in the power of the little people and their willingness to grant favor when properly respected. The concept of small, powerful beings extends beyond the Crow, appearing in the stories of numerous other tribes across North America. The Iroquois, for instance, tell of a similar race of little people known as the Yoga. These beings, said to range in height from knee-high to about 4 feet (1.22 meters) tall, are rarely seen by humans but are said to make themselves known through subtle signs. Drumming that echoes through the forest without any visible drummers, or rings of bare earth left behind, are often indicators that the Yoga are nearby. They are known to leave bowls in stones or mud as places for offerings such as tobacco and fingernails. Like their counterparts in other tribes, the Yoga are believed to influence both good and bad fortune, often explaining disembodied lights or a string of bad luck experienced by those who unknowingly crossed their path. The Yoga are divided into several distinct groups, each with its own responsibilities and areas of influence. The Gondai are the caretakers of the land, responsible for nurturing the flora and ensuring that crops grow plentifully. Farmers who treat the land with respect and reverence are said to benefit from the Gondai's guidance, particularly when it comes to cultivating strawberries, a fruit they are known to love. When the Gondai are pleased, they take the form of American robins, bringing good news to those who have honored them. However, when they bring ill news, they are said to appear as owls, their foreboding presence a signal of impending hardship. The Odas, another group of Yoga, are subterranean guardians. They protect the earth from the dark creatures of the underworld, ensuring that disease and chaos do not rise to the surface to spread destruction. Among the most sacred creatures they guard is the white buffalo, a symbol of purity and hope for many tribes. The Gahangas, or stone throwers, live in rocky areas such as streams, where they indulge in their favorite game of throwing or rolling stones. Despite their playful demeanor, these beings are deeply connected to the balance of the natural world, ensuring that the forces of chaos are kept at bay. The influence of the little people is not limited to North America alone. Tales of small, magical beings can be found in the folklore of many indigenous tribes throughout the Americas and even in non-native cultures across Europe. These stories, whether of the Nunahi, the Nimaragar, the Yoga, or any other race of little people, carry with them lessons of respect for the natural world, reverence for the unseen forces that govern life, and the importance of balance between humans and the spirits of the earth. The rich tapestry of folklore surrounding the little people speaks to a universal belief in the power of unseen forces. The idea that there is more to the world than what meets the eye. These stories, passed down through generations, continue to resonate with those who hear them. serving as a reminder of the deep connections between humanity, nature, and the spiritual realm. The little people, in their many forms, remain a symbol of the mysterious and magical. Guardians of ancient wisdom and protectors of the sacred spaces that exist just beyond our reach.